stoke the embers, right? Stoke the embers is what we're trying to do. We want to refuel your flame, fire back up your passion, and really, okay, I'll look for you. I'll send you something as soon as we finish up, Miss Kathy. So we want to make sure that you get your passion back, your purpose back. And for some of you, I've been thinking, you may still be kind of asking the question like, why me? Like, am I qualified for this? And that's what today's about, because Jeremiah 18:4 gives us this glimpse, I think, into ourselves. Remember, Jeremiah's down at the potter's house, and we know Jeremiah's going to lose his fire, but here's some things that God is doing to kind of help him keep it. And Jeremiah 18:4, thank you, Sister Cheryl, for putting that up there. Somebody else put that on too. Hey, Sister Floyd, Brother Floyd, if you guys are around, Brother Rob, Jeremiah 18:4. Hey, Lori, good morning. There we go, 18:4. Here's what it says. It says, but the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. There we go. The pot was shaped, right? We talked about getting in shape. It was marred. Marred is this. It is to mean it is messed up, it's chipped, it's fractured, it's not whole. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. I want to talk about exploring today. I want to explore this idea. Hey, Chandra, of the mirage of being marred. So let me be clear that we all have some issues. We all have some challenges. No secret. We all sin and fall short of the glory of God. That's true. However, there are also some aspects of us that aren't necessarily sins we have committed that we often use as excuses for why we aren't eligible to do, or why we aren't eligible to receive, or why we aren't adequate enough to become this person, right? We'll say, I could do that, but, I got divorced, or because I had this handicap, or because I've been diagnosed with this disease. I would be able to go there or to carry out that assignment or be involved in an activity, but I have this ailment, or I have this situation, or this thing has happened to me. Hey, Peanut. And we want to be careful. We want to be careful that we don't eliminate ourselves from God's blessing program because we have already deemed us inadequate. Listen, the mirage of, no, that's the application. Let me finish talking about the text. When Jeremiah gets down there, he sees the clay in the potter's hand and it's marred, but it doesn't mean that the potter throws it away. No, the potter just takes the marred clay. He keeps working it and working it and working it and working it, because marred in the master's hand does not now cause you to miss what the potter has planned. That rhyme, I'm gonna do it again. Let's stick with it. It wasn't supposed to, but it did. Marred in the master's hand does not mean you miss out on the master's plan. There we go. Tag it. That's what we're working with today. Marred in the master's hand does not mean you miss the master's plan. A matter of fact, I would argue that because God knows that there are some areas of all of us that are human that makes us that puts us in line and makes it possible for us to be marred, that he had to include marred in the plan. And the mirage of being marred is that most of us are under the impression that whatever aspect of our life that we are marred in, that somehow it has disqualified us from our purpose, from our passion, from God's favor, from his grace, from becoming that thing, from acquiring those things, from walking out that purpose. You don't think you are eligible to go to those places because of past relationships. You don't think you're eligible for real love and real relationship. Because of diagnosis, you think that there's some activities that you are not allowed to participate in. Because of how new you are in church or how much Bible you do or don't know, you don't think you are as holy, as anointed as somebody else. Because of how your children act, even though you try to raise them in church, you feel as if you are stained to the community. Listen to me, that is a mirage. It is not true. Because the God we serve, his application, the God we serve, he's able to take us marred and shape us into something that is pleasing to him. It's actually what we call grace. Grace is what God does so that when we are insufficient, it becomes our new sufficiency. That wherever we lack, grace picks up the slack. That whatever we're missing, grace says, you know what? I know you're missing that, but I'm not going to let you missing that cause you to miss out on what I have for you. You are qualified anyway. You are eligible in spite of. You have access even though you may not necessarily have been perfect. Here's what's really interesting. That when we look at that scripture, Jeremiah 18:4, when we look at that scripture, it doesn't tell us how the clay was marred. It doesn't tell us if the clay like wiggled itself off of somebody's shelf and it fell, or if the pot had been mishandled and somebody else dropped the clay. And you know what I found? I found that many of the things that we try to apologize for, many of the things that we use as excuses for why we cannot become, or why our passion is not being pursued, or why purpose isn't being fulfilled, or why we haven't applied for that, or why we haven't signed up for, or why we haven't jumped out on faith to do something. Majority of, 9 times out of 10 times, when we come up with the reasons for why we aren't going to do something, it's not even the thing that happened to us that we did. It's the thing that happened to us that somebody else did, that we don't even have control over. It's the thing that happened to us that's a part of life, and we just haven't accepted that part of life yet. I mean, think about it. You're trying to say there's some things you can't do because of your age. Look, there is nothing you can do about aging. Aging is going to happen. I mean, you can get some of that cream and you can take away some of the wrinkles. You can cover it up with the makeup. You can wear clothes that make you look younger. But at the end of the day, aging is just something that happens. So you cannot use your age as an excuse for why you can't do it, because you couldn't control your age. Relationships, some of those relationships you were in, it was what they did to you. They were living outside of the marriage. They were cheating. They were abusive. They were the people who were vocally abusing you. And so you guys aren't together. It's tough. I get it. But you can't use divorce as some deterrent now to not accomplish what is your destiny. No. It may be an area that society may deem as marred, but it doesn't have to be something that you deem as marred. Look, you got diagnosed. There is nothing you did to get that illness. Now, I mean, maybe your diet wasn't exactly what it should have been. Maybe you worked in a place where the atmosphere caused, your lungs to do whatever. You know what? We could come up with reasons why it happened, but it's not something you did on purpose. It's not like you injected yourself with sickness and now as a result, you can't go forward. So here's what I'm saying. Since we don't know how the clay got marred, since we don't know what caused the clay to get marred, God says, I'm not going to allow something that we don't even know about to now stop you from getting the thing that I have planned. Here's something I do know. I do know that you can become it, right? The doctor, the lawyer, the teacher. You can graduate. You can start a business. You can launch the ministry. You can preach a sermon. You can teach the Bible study. You can become the leader. You can run for the position. You can do that. And you can do that despite where you're marred, because the mirage of being marred is that you have to miss out on life. You don't have to miss out on anything. As a matter of fact, if I could tell you one of the other, one of the other places that many of us may feel insufficient, but you won't say it out loud, is being a Christian. Many of you are under the impression that because you are saved, there are certain things and certain luxuries in life that you are not allowed to have. That is a mirage. You can be saved and still have fun. You can live righteous and holy for God and still live life to the fullest. You can be prosperous and still be a person who praises. Poverty is not a prerequisite for living as a Christian. Moderation, of course, but not poverty. And sometimes we marginalize ourselves in our own minds because we have this mirage that being marred means that there are things we are not entitled to. Listen, if you can get your passion back and pursue your purpose, you have to know you're qualified. You have to know that despite whatever you think is holding you back, it is not the thing that God says that God is using to keep you there. Matter of fact, a couple of scriptures say things like the enemy is the accuser of the men. The devil is the accuser of men. He keeps accusing you of not being eligible. He keeps saying because of this, because of that. I got these keloids on my face. And I remember when I got these keloids, it wasn't anything I did. Doctors kept saying that they could do some type of procedure and take them off, but none of the doctors said it would be 100%.